Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. Well, in this show, we've been talking about the office market, but next we're going to show you some ways to lease more space and have more occupancy in any type of building, including office buildings. Please welcome my next guest is Sean Williams. Sean is VP of the National Office Group with Bull Realties, joining us here in Studio One. Sean, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Michael.
Sean, I've seen you take some vacant large buildings that had too much vacancy and fill those with great tenants pretty quickly. So for our listeners and viewers around the country that may have a building that does have too much vacancy, what are some things that you would look at their property to kind of get an idea of where they might improve performance?
Sure. We look at three things, really. First, we look at how competitive is this property in the marketplace? How does it compare with other buildings of similar size and quality? The rate, the incentives that the landlord's offering, TI contributions, leasing commissions to their brokers and the outside tenant brokers. How it looks compared to other buildings.
Right, it's got to show well, right?
It's got to show well. So if there are problems with the parking lot or the facade or anything like that, we look at those things and help advise the owner.
All right, so that's number one grouping. What's number two grouping?
So we look at the marketing. We see how it looks like on the internet. Is it out there everywhere? Is it just on one or two sites that the brokers see? If it needs to be out there everywhere, which we put properties everywhere we possibly can on several hundred websites. So we look and see, is it exposed like it should be?
Right, because some people think, well, maybe it's in CoStar or Xceligent, maybe we're okay. But there's a lot of other places to market office properties, and some of these tenants are looking directly.
Sure, they're looking directly. And so the third thing that we look at really is who's doing the leasing for the landlord. Are they being very proactive? Are they just waiting for the phone to ring? How many services did they actually take the time to put it on? And did they do a nice package for the property that shows off the features of the building?
Right. So what's some examples of the landlord rep, whether they're in-house or third party, being proactive?
So one of the things, the easy button is to be very responsive to any interest whatsoever, generating proposals and LOIs. And
I think that's a big problem. I've seen that rep in tenants where I'm calling landlord reps and it seems like 7 out of 10 are just really slow to respond.
So I don't understand how you can be too slow to serve your landlord well.
Yeah.
That's what you're hired to do. So you have to do it very proactively.
Yeah. What's some other examples of being proactive if you're a landlord rep to get tenants?
Well, just returning calls quickly and making outgoing calls. Your job. You're
not supposed to just wait for the phone to ring.
You can't just wait for the phone to ring. You can contact tenants directly, and we do. We call them. We send letters. We do other things.
You just don't wait for the tenant reps to bring you tenants?
Well, that happens from time to time, but we also go after the outliers and the other, tenants that, may not be working with a broker. So we try to go after everything we can for the landlord.
Yeah. And what about being proactive with proposals from landlord? I've talked to some landlords reps, and they're kind of waiting for me to do a letter of intent from my tenant.
Sure. Well, that's great, but you can also send a proposal out, and we'd like to have a landlord look at it, but you get it out to the tenant as soon as you can if you want to be in play with the property. So that's another thing you can do as a landlord rep to really help them secure more tenants.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's a sales 101. There's sometimes people are ready to buy, and you just got to reach out to them and get it going. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on one of the stations around the country, or maybe you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes or one of the Podomatic type of stations. So thanks for being with us. Or maybe you're watching or listening on the Commercial Real Estate Show. We appreciate you being with us. Also, make sure you subscribe to our show on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe on our show website for the weekly email topic. That will tell you what each show is going to be about and who's going to be on the show, and have a link to the podcast. And thanks for being with us. Be sure and join us next week. We're talking about the apartment market. The multifamily market has been changing. You want to be with us next week. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out creshow.com.